Now, Fred, get your hand off that shifter. We ain't driving this car today. You say you don't know where Rick's Rusty Rex is? Well, I'll tell you. Take the I-69 bypass, loop around on Doglick Road, head up 13th and hang a left, baby, and you're there.
Last Saturday night, didn't know it was you, but you're looking alright. I didn't understand it, but I wanted you to know. Where did you come from, baby? Where did you go when, baby?
Well, hey, if you don't like fixing things and making them just like brand used, this channel may not be for you. So hey, it's Rick here, and we're back today working on the CrustyChrysler. Today, I'm just going to do a little short video, kind of get you caught up. You saw in the last video, I think, where we scoped out the gas tank, found out there actually was clean on the inside of it, and I was kind of shocked. So we did run some new gas line. I bought some gas line from Jegs. We ran new gas line all the way back. That was quite an experience. My benders that I have for stuff like that, I bought stainless steel gas line. So you know, it was tough to bend, but we got it in there, and kind of basically went in the same places that the other one was at, but not totally. So anyway, we got that squared away. Today, what we're going to do is I'm going to be putting in a couple of gauges. Now the car's got an oil gauge. It's an electric one, and it's got a temperature gauge, which just kind of shows the needle. So I'm going to put in a little aftermarket oil gauge for me. I'm saving all the parts that I'm taking off of here. In fact, I've already got the little junction block off of here. So I'm going to put the new tap into that and then run the line into the cab. But I'm doing that because I want to be more specific. This car's got 150,000, it's been sitting for 30 years. I want to really see what the engine's doing, and the same way with the temperature gauge. I don't want one that just says hot and cold. You know, I want to see, because we're going to drop the temperature on the thermostat down on it some and do some things like that, and I'm going to try to make it run as cool as I can. So we got rid of all the air conditioning condenser in front and some stuff, and we may have to put some electric fans on it. I don't know yet where it's going to see. But what I'm trying to get at is I need to get these gauges put in here, because I've just about got all the parts in to get this motor back together. Well, I didn't take the motor apart, but the parts that I have taken off of it to replace, I've about got everything in, and I want to get started on that. So anyway, without further ado, let's get busy. And remember, we make things like brand used here. I'll quick once show you the new fuel line. Here's where the new fuel line comes up. You can't hardly see it, but if I get my fingers out of the way, right there. And it follows its way down the frame. It's got little clips and mounts and runs all along here. Can't really see it. And then it comes up the same way back over in this tire back here, up around behind the tire, and then right over there, then it ties into a new flex line that goes into the tank. So, just a little short on that. Okay, what I got here is, let me set you down. I got this plug out of the firewall, so that goes right into the driver's side there. And what I'm going to do is take this grommet, and I'm going to punch me a small hole in it, and then I'm going to fix a slot in it so that I can run, let me show you, the one for the water line, or the water temp gauge. So let me show you. So what we got is this piece here has to go through the firewall, and then I'll cut a slot so that, because we don't want this rubbing against the metal, and then the plastic line, which I'm not a great fan of, but that's what this gauge came with. I don't want that plastic line rubbing against that metal hole either, because I've had that happen before. Vibration will wear that wear a slot in that or a groove in that, then that plastic line will go to leaking. So, but I think we'll mount both of those right here. It'll still give us room to operate our hood thingy jobby and our brake thingy that doesn't work. So anyway, so I think that's where we'll put them, or else we might move one of them here and one of them here. I don't know. It's going to depend on how long the cable is. So, all right, well, let me get started running this stuff through here, and I'll show you more. Okay, I've got that shoving up through there. There we go. There's that. I'm going to gently pull this up out of there. This back down in here. This is the hose that goes to the gauge for the oil pressure. This old plastic line is a pain in the butt. I think 1/8" copper or something like that would have been a lot easier to work with, but I have no idea what that would cost. Okay, so now I'm going to take this grommet. I drilled a hole in it and I put a slot in the side of it, because I don't care if a little air leaks through here or whatever, but I don't want this to rub on the plastic line on that metal. So, and I cut me a little V in that so it'd be easier to pop that grommet back in there, because I like to never got that thing out of there. Now, I'm not going to pop that in there just yet, because I want to run these the length I've got to have for over there, and then this one is going to have to loop over and come over to about right there. So, all right, show you more. Okay, most of you probably know this, but I'm going to use some Teflon tape on these threads. You can use pipe dope. I like this old white Teflon tape. I'm not big on the new gray stuff. This white stuff, for me, or at least where I live, is hard to find. So, but I prefer this, and a lot of times I will go ahead and put some pipe dope on this as well. But I don't think there's that big of an issue. So, wanted to get that on there. Then we're going to go put this in the block. All right, show you more. Stick this down in this little hole here and get that kind of started. Oops, sorry about that. You guys were kind of in the way there. Now, I'm going to use my little drop forged wrench here, because this is the only one I got that's short. And we're just going to, you know, put this at about one click on our arm right, because I don't want this thing to break off in here. That would be a real booger bear. And some of you would probably say, well, why didn't you just leave that big block on there? You could have run the old electric gauge that Chrysler has in here, and you could have just, you know, it had that tree on there. You could have took that fuel shutoff thing that was in this built into the computer on it, so that if the oil pressure got low, it shut her down. Well, yeah, I could have done that. The problem is and I know I'm going to get the haters on this one, but I'm taking that distributor out, and I'm going to put a one-wire HEI type distributor in here. And I want enough room to be able to support that distributor I'm using. So, all right, got that snugged up. Show you more. Okay, so I've seen your comments about the HEI one-wire distributor, and I understand that, you know, Chrysler, I'm not saying Chrysler makes a bad electronic ignition at all. This particular distributor does not have vacuum advance, and since I'm going to be doing away with two of the other issues we have, which is where the mice chewed into the little brain box that's in the air cleaner, spark control device, I'm not going to be replacing that, and the little silicon and the packing for the little computer module on the firewall, all of that has run out of the back of that. And I have found that on these Chryslers, whenever the little box that sits next to that, that is the voltage regulator, when all that goo runs out of the back of that, it's time to change all that. So that meant I was going to have to spend all that money to replace those parts. That was $180 for the 2 parts, and that was, one of them was used from a junkyard because I couldn't find the new control box for that spark. So I'm just kind of clarifying that. I'm not trying to say that the ignition system that Chrysler put on this was bad. I'm just saying this one don't work. And we're definitely on a budget. I didn't want to spend any money on this. I've told you that before. I just wanted to get it running. Really? Put some exhaust on that car. I'm a fine one to speak about that. Anyway, so that's kind of why I'm putting the 1-wire distributor in. They're so easy to just run one hot wire over to it and boom, you got it. And to me, that's easy. And my son's 318, in his truck, we did that same thing too, because we were having so much trouble trying to find parts for his, and the cost of it. I mean, I bought the whole new distributor for, you know, $71 and free shipping, I think. So, and we've had that one in his. You can go back and check my videos from a couple years ago. He's still driving that 72 Dodge, and it runs great. So that's why I did that. It's not because I think that Chrysler has inferior spark and distributor components, okay? So, because I don't even know that much about Chrysler stuff, other than I used to work on these old Dodge trucks when I was in the military. So, anyway, all right, just wanted to clarify that. All right, let's pull this little duker down here. And we want to put this on here. And we got to put the ferrule on there. Try to, preferably, for it to be a little bit clean. Okay, so then we're going to stick that down in there. Let that ferrule slide down on there. And use another one of these fancy wrenches here. These old cast wrenches. Whoops. I moved the light. Now you may not be able to see it all. Here, let me fix you so you can see what I'm doing. And again, I don't want to crush this thing. I mean, this is a plastic line, so, but I don't want it to leak either. I mean, obviously. And I don't want it to pull. Yeah, see, it's still wanting to pull up out of there a little bit. So we got to tighten it till that won't pull up out of there. So I'm going to back it off just a little bit to make sure that I'm still seated down in there. Oh yeah, we're still in there. Good. Okay. I've had these that'll slip up on you, and then it gets right to the end of that ferrule, and boy, then she's going to go to leaking on you about halfway down the road somewhere. So I have done these a few times. I may not be doing it right, but I'm doing it just like brand used, baby.
Making things just like brand used, baby.
Click. I think that's pretty tight. Yeah, that don't want to come out of there. So I think we're in pretty good shape. Now I'm going to take me a zip tie when we put this new distributor in, and I'm probably going to kind of zip tie that back over there out of the way just a little bit. That way it gives me more room here, because that new distributor is going to be right in here. So, because it's significantly bigger than that one. All right, show you more. Okay, as you can see, I got that grommet snapped back down in there, and I got my lines ran up here along with this other loom. And then the one for the water jacket, we ran it right down through here, and it ends up right here. I've kind of got it up out of the way, because we're fixing to take this off. Now, it was stuck really hard. I couldn't get it with an open-end wrench. I had to use a box wrench on it. Well, in order to do that, the bottom little tit broke off on it, so anyway, that heat sensor for the vacuum, blah, blah, whatever that part did, she no working no more. So, alright, let's get that out of there and put in the sleeve, and then insert that little, I don't know what you call this end here. You guys tell me. You tell me down below what that's called. I forget. Alright, show you more. Alright, let's see if we can get that out of here. Oh my God. Man. That ain't been off probably since 1979 when it was put on there. Actually, this car was built in December of '78. It was one of the first ones that rolled off. And that's why I think this one has some things that a lot of the ones that I'm watching on YouTube, especially on the interior, this one has a lot more Cordoba stuff on the inside, like the steering wheel and different stuff like that, where the ones that were built later on that year had more specific parts. Well, I guess we're going to find out if we got any antifreeze in here. Nope, she's dry. I hope that's a good thing. I hope we ain't got freeze plugs out. We'll see. Alright, let's see what we got here. Show you more. Alright, I'm going to do this one basically the same way as I did the other one. I'm going to take my tape here and kind of roll that around the threads and oops, drop it on my car. And yeah, this is my old Taurus sitting here, and bought that new in 2001. No, 2002. It's a 2001 car, and it was after the new models came out, the dealership was trying to get rid of them real cheap. So anyway, I bought this girl. Alright, so we got that wrapped on there, so we're going to take a socket and we're going to screw it down in there and you know, snug it up some, but you know, not too much. We don't break it off in there. Alright, show you more. Alright, stick that down in there. Hopefully you can see my hand's probably in the way. Got that started. Wrench ain't wanting to. She's not wanting to wrench on me. What the heck? Don't tell me my Craftsman give up the ghost. I believe she did. Had that happen one other time. Alright, let's get a different ratchet. Alright, got my Thorson this time. So, I like them Craftsman tools, but you guys tell me down below. I don't know where you can get them replaced at anymore. Our Sears store is long gone here in our community, and we had a Kmart years ago that carried them, but then that all went away, and I don't know. Click. Oh, that's probably good. I don't want to break it off. I just don't want it to leak. Okay, so this little thing will insert down in here. Alright, let's do that. Now, Fred, get your hand off that shifter. We ain't driving this car today. Maybe you can see what's going on. Maybe. Alright. Okay, so we got our little plastic line hose. Now, I'm not crazy about this particular brand of these things because you got to make sure you put this little collar doodgy-whopper over that line before you mount all this crap all up in there, because then you ain't going to get this thing here on there. The ones I put in the War Wagon had clamps on the back side, and you just, it was a lot simpler design. So, but this one passed inspection. See, looky there. Anyway, I think we'll probably mount the oil gauge right here. It looks like it's out of the way of my foot, and I should still be able to see it. And then the temperature gauge, I think we're going to mount him right over here, kind of like thus. So, alright, so I'm going to get me some self-tapper screws because that's the way to do things right. And I'm going to run some of those in under here, and I'll show you more. Fred, get your hand off that shifter. I'll get this other screw in here. Okay, now I did not use self-tappers on these because actually there was 2 screws that mount this dash that fit just perfect. So we're going to slip this in here. like this and run this up here like so. Don't even tell me that is on the wrong direction. I'm afraid it is. She's not wanting to tighten down too good. There she goes. That's good. Okay. Tighten that down and let's get this. We don't want, again, we'll be gentle with this and not bend this around too much because, you know, she breaks and lets all that juice out and you're pretty much screwed at that point. Okay, and now we got these wires, black and white, and of course you can figure out which one goes to where by that color. But I'm not going to wire these in just yet because for lights, because that's for the lights. But I'm not going to wire that in yet because I have got to see what all else we're putting in here. Because I know that we're going to be putting in the scanner and the CB, because we can't be driving this 70s model, for lack of a better word, hoopty down the road. I hate to use that word. But because of Mike's Hoopty Barn, and if you haven't checked him out, you ought to go check him out. He's pretty cool. But, you know, we're going to be driving this down the road with, you know, fur in the back dash, and you know, we got to have a CB too. So, I mean, it's just the way it is. Anyway, all right, let me get this other one hooked up, and I'll show you more. Okay, well, that's the end of the road for this video. We got some trinkets taken off today. A couple of them. That one kind of got a battle wound, but I'm going to save the piece. Somebody could fix it if you want to. Again, it's not something I want to do. But I do think it's worth saving all the parts for this car. I'm not trying to trash the car out. I'm just trying to use it for my purposes. Because I would hate to see this go, when I get ready to sell it after the No Name Nationals, to somebody who would just, you know, hack it all up or something. But you know what? If they pay me for it, it belongs to them and they can do what they want to with it. There's one of the guys that I watch on YouTube that has a Chrysler 300 that he bought out of the junkyard. It sat there for years and years and years, 20 I think. No one bothered to buy it then, but as soon as he bought it and started making a burnout car with it, everybody was freaking out and getting all mad. Well, you know, I can understand. I'd like to have some parts off of it too, because it's a nicer car than I've got. But, you know, it's his. I mean, just leave people alone. I don't understand, you know. Anyway, enough of that said. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Be sure and check out the No Name Nationals. I just got a new banner. Or show bill, I don't know, whatever you call it. So I'll link that in right here. So anyway, be sure and check that out. Do a hashtag No Name Nationals. You're going to bring up all these folks that are building stuff and trying to get their subscriptions up. And by the way, our subscription rate has come up, and I really appreciate that. We were at 92% of you that didn't subscribe, that watch, and we're up to 80 now. So that means that a few of you have reached up there and click that button like I talked about. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. You generally do have to set up an account, which is basically going to ask you for an email address and blah, blah. But it doesn't cost you anything. So anyway, do yourself a favor and do all of us a favor who are trying to get more subscriptions. Reach up there and hit that subscribe button. We just really appreciate it. And I appreciate every one of you that comments and every one of you that has subscribed already. So anyway, just like always, we're making things like brand used here, baby. Now, Fred, I want you to get out of that car. You're not supposed to be staying in this car all the time. What is the matter with you?
Well, I've seen a picture